To start with, how Europe differs from the American debate, it's industrial policy is no ugly word. On the contrary, it's used by many and quite inflationary, with as a consequence that we have difficulties to give shape to it. Second is, we are going to have elections on 9th of June, and afterwards we're going to have a new commission. And everybody's wondering what's going to be the headline of this new commission. I'm certain it's not going to be the next Green Deal. I'm quite sure that the headline is going to be competitiveness, maybe with the addendum on completing the internal market, based on the two reports that we're going to get by Draghi and by Letta. And then the question is, what is meant by this? Now, there's a group who defines industrial policy as, you call it, I think, a bit the national champion trap, as a nice word to roll back achievements that we have in Europe of the last 10 years, by basically claiming we get in competitiveness under the heading of industrial policy by relieving companies from regulatory burden and bureaucracy, whatever that means in detail. Ultimately, it just means get rid of the Green Deal and get rid of the advancements of the last 10 years. That's going to happen if there is no other vision on industrial policy. The other vision that we currently see rather predominant is a rather traditional one, let's say in the French 1970s tradition, meaning I open the money bag and then everybody who wants gets some money and something will come out of it. And besides, I'm having nice regulations with beautiful numbers and some year dates in the very, very far future. And because I'm putting this in there, I'm going to realize this. One could even exaggerate and say it's kind of a Soviet style of industrial policy. History has shown it's not very successful. So from that point of view, we need a third way. Now then we are back to the 90s, so let's leave out that one. But we need a different understanding of industrial policy. I believe there has to be a progressive understanding of what is industrial policy. And here I saw now in this debate a lot of elements that have to nourish into this debate. I believe, let's say, first of all, industrial policy is for me the state intervening into free markets mechanisms. That is a very broad notion in that sense. That shows, we realize that markets are obviously not able to deliver on a multitude of public interests. Not surprising, because market operators are following private interests. And if they do not align, it's no surprise that they are not getting there. So what is there to be done? If we take now an antitrust perspective, I think this gives an idea what has to be done. Antitrust in all this in the European context looks at state aid, and state aid basically saying, okay, do I give state aid into one direction or the other direction? Once again, simply opening the money bag doesn't bring any added value. Moreover, competition policy, if it's then looking at how markets work, is here obsessed with this efficiency paradigm. And once when it looks at market concentrations, have a proof of abuse before tackling market concentration. So going against market concentration, breaking it up in order to come to innovation that is much needed, that is the first step. So therefore, I do think that the basis for the recipe is given by the interventions that were just made. It's innovation that we need, it's R&D that we need. If we look at digital markets that we actually should not call markets because they are no markets. What we need in order to break them up is, next to a good competition policy, obviously, the next competitor, the next challenger. The next challenger is probably already born, hopefully working already at the university. But what is nowadays happening is, if this idea ever becomes into a challenger, this challenger is killed the instant Google, Apple or the others see them, killer acquisitions. So therefore, protecting startup ideas to let them grow in support by market authorities, I believe this is one of the issues. But if we go even one step further, and then we look at the bigger picture here. When I was an assistant professor, I also didn't sleep much. I was in academia until February 22. And the reason was not my newly born kids. It was not even the fact that I had to grade a lot of exams or to do the management part. The reason that I couldn't sleep was that I had to write tons and tons of funding applications that were all unsuccessful. So if the idea of market management is setting up a lot of public funds that require programming of research and development, where researchers have to draft proposals by saying, I'm going to invent something in 10 years and I do it in this way, nothing of that is groundbreaking, because obviously we don't know what is going to be groundbreaking in 10 years, it's not going to work. We have a neoliberal university that is putting everything on the top but research. So we need to have a change of mindset that unleashes the powers of research and innovation at our public institutions, at our universities, give the space to researchers to probably research, and afterwards transform ideas into their ability to be on markets, and then competition policy has to protect the new competitor to grow. So that is, I think, a way how that can go forward. That is one example, but it gives the ideas how progressive industrial policy should look like, and how, as Europe, where we don't have the same fiscal capacities as the United States, we never can keep up with the US or others in terms of fiscal capacities, but we have other means. And these are the basic ideas of a progressive industrial policy for the next 5 years.
Okay, I love, yay, clap, okay, clap moment.